In 1993, Steven Spielberg took our breath away when he brought dinosaurs back to life on the screen. This week, we discussed the series as a whole and asked the question, just because you can doesn't mean you should. In regards to the 5 sequels that followed over the last 29 years, I'm Chad.
And I'm Liz.
All that pep in your step. Look at you. It's adorable. Hold on to your butts because you're listening to the 72nd episode of We Used to Talk About This at Work. All right, so right off the bat, we got Liz back, and I want to thank you for coming on, Miss.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Okay. I appreciate you watching 6 movies. That's quite a lot to ask of somebody, and I appreciate you doing that.
Oh yeah.
And it
It was a ride.
was a thrill ride, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
But also elephant in the room, Matt's not here. They are experiencing a typhoon in Japan right now. So last I heard, I talked to him for like maybe 2 hours ago, and things were okay. So just hoping, everything's all right and it's not too bad. And yeah, man, I hope you're listening to this and enjoying it. And maybe you'll send us some listener feedback since you watch these movies too. But why are we doing this, Liz? Why have we given up so much of our time to watch these movies?
There was a discussion in episode 54.
Oh, damn. Look, you over here got your notes and stuff because I can't tell
No,
you
that's the
what
only
happened
note.
in any episode specifically.
That's the only note I got. I remember it was the episode I was in, which was the episode 54.
Okay. So yes, you were on and we were talking about something and it turned into a conversation about Jurassic Park, the series. And I made some comments about the movies and you and Matt jumped on my head so hard. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna watch all of them and then we'll see who's right. And yeah,
Yep.
we will figure out what's what. But I ended up cutting that whole sequence. That was like 15-minute conversation I removed because I was like, no, we're just gonna breeze on into it. But so what outside of what we've done these last few weeks for these movies, what has your relationship been with this franchise?
The opening scene of Jurassic Park is the first time I remember being scared of a movie where
Oh,
I was so little, I had to hide under my dad's arm because it was so scary.
and this is you watching it at home, or did your dad take you to the movie theater?
We were at home on the couch.
Okay.
So it was a little bit after it had actually released.
Okay. Um Okay, so I've been a big fan of the series since the first movie, and as I revisited these movies, I realized I've seen every movie in the theater except the third one. And
Really?
yeah, I remember in elementary school, our elementary school had like a theme for the school year. It was dinosaurs. Maybe it was like synergy with Jurassic Park. I don't know. And so, like, near the end of the school year, we had a big field trip to go see Jurassic Park in the movie theater.
I bet you that was the discovery of Sue, the Tyrannosaurus Rex that's in the Field and Science Museum in Chicago.
Okay.
That was in our lifetime when we were younger.
Okay.
So if they had a theme like that possibly could have been
May
related to that.
possibly. I don't really recall, but all right.
Weird facts I know.
I'm not, hey, I appreciate it. I remember seeing the second movie at the Esquire movie theater. When I feel like it's fairly popular in the St. Louis area.
I know where it is.
I know that name. Yes.
I do, in fact, know of that theater.
And then, I skipped the third one. And like I saw the third one on DVD, on a DVD from Blockbuster. And the DVD was like damaged. So like scenes were like skipping and jumping
Man,
around.
Oh no. I
So
remember those days.
I didn't have a positive opinion of the movie just because of that.
I can see
I
that.
couldn't even see it. And then
Yeah.
these Jurassic World movies are more recent, so that's kind of a different conversation.
Yeah, that's more of a we had to see them because it's nostalgia.
Yes, yes, yes. We had to do our pilgrimage. All right, so but let's jump in. Jurassic Park. Huge advancements in scientific technology have enabled a mogul to create an island full of living dinosaurs. John Hammond has invited four individuals along with his two grandchildren to join him at Jurassic Park. But will everything go according to plan?
I still love this movie. I loved how much they used a puppet Tyrannosaurus Rex
Hmm.
because it makes those scenes a lot more vibrant for that period.
Yes.
I enjoyed the childlike humor of it and how at the time it was utterly ridiculous to even fathom this idea. Like in reality, having the scientific technology to be able to do that at that level,
Yeah.
like, it was so outlandish then when we were kids to think about something like that. And I can still, like, rewatching them, I still kind of remember feeling like that. Like, this is so insane. And yet, I drove a Jeep Grand Cherokee today that the dashboard and your speed and speed limit you should be at pops up like Tony Stark's
Oh yeah.
workspace.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's insane to see that jump that clearly.
Hmm.
And obviously, we really need to stop meddling.
That's not a thing. We will actually create a Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah, no,
Maybe
that's
not
real.
in our lifetime, but in our
Probably our kids.
yes,
I
in our
could see
children's
it.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Like, I still remember a good portion of it, and like, so it just still clicks. Like
Yeah.
the whole, we're doing this for entertainment purposes. Like, people, if we have the technology, people have a right to see this. Versus, okay, you have like you feel like you have the right to do something because you can. Like, you
Yes.
create living creatures out of time, and pull them out of time and expect them to like dance like a puppet, like a monkey. Like, they're gonna do what they do, and that will result in like people getting hurt. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like, just the back and forth. Like, I'm with you, like the visual effects, like that tagline for Richard Donner's Superman, like, "You'll believe a man could fly." Like, you feel like
It's real.
they made dinosaurs?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
all of those scenes make everything around it so much more identifiable
Yes.
that you can really just like, even full grown adult, I've seen all the behind the scenes stuff of Jurassic Park, and it's like you still get so wrapped up in it.
Mhm.
It was a very entertaining story that kept you at pace throughout the whole movie. And you really, like, at certain points, you did start to kind of second guess, and then you're like, nope, nope, never mind. You get a quick correction. I mean, it stands the test of time. It's one of my kids' favorite movies still.
Mhm. It
So I mean, there's two generations right there.
it's a favorite of mine too. Something I did notice for the first time when watching this movie, there's a scene where they're watching, the dinosaurs being fed. And for whatever reason, Hammond is like watching Grant watch the animals feed, like feeding off of like the amazement, like feeding off of Grant's energy. And
Right.
I never noticed that little detail before.
He was a very, very good actor for that role.
Which
He
one?
really, um, the one that played Hamill,
Okay, okay.
well, and Sam, is it
S-
O'Neill or Neil?
Just Neil.
Yeah, he's phenomenal in everything
Hmm.
he's done as well, and his facial expressions always, you can just feel everything going on in that
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
But both of them paired together, that energy was really an even balance between chaotic and
Mm.
lawful, if you
Yes.
would.
Yes.
So I feel like that movie has oddly stood the test of time.
It has. It has. I mean, also it's like they cared, you know,
Yeah.
and not to, spoil anything going forward in today's episode, but it's like as an audience member, you can tell when they care when they're putting together a film and when they don't.
Yeah. You can 100% get, oh, this is like a rich story being told
Right.
versus, oh, this is entertaining right now.
Yes, you guys are just like they'll eat this up and we'll get our money. Let's go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts before we move on?
I think it's definitely still worth a watch.
It is
At
definitely.
34 years old, I'm still back in Jurassic Park.
All right. Next up, The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Ian Malcolm and a research team are sent to an island 87 miles away from the previous home of Jurassic Park to document and photograph the now liberated dinosaurs. However, InGen has sent another larger team to the same island to catch, sedate, and transport some dinosaurs to San Diego, where they will be used in a new Jurassic Park location. But life always finds a way. Will both teams return to the mainland with success, or will another tragedy occur? I remember there was like a lot of flack for this movie, but I absolutely love this movie until the third act. Like I feel like the
Yes.
I the ideal of a Jurassic Park, like just sticking to the first three movies. I don't feel like it's appropriate to move away from the island. I don't feel like it's appropriate to like see the real world as it were. Um I just
I
like the
don't
idea. Hmm?
I don't think it added anything.
I agree. I agree.
I feel like that was a jump factor or something of that nature more so than because the story was so fantastic up till then. It made
Mhm.
logical sense.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, like I get you always want to throw that curve, but your curve has to make sense with the road. Like you
Yeah,
can't just willy-nilly pop a Yui in like Colorado mountain roads.
and also like I feel like bringing the animals to the real world, even if it's just technically two, but really one, um, it hurts any future sequels, in my opinion, because it's like there like the first Jurassic Park, it was isolated on this island. There's plausible deniability from this company that, that was a thing. And so
Mhm.
going down the line, they could open another Jurassic Park. But like if you had a whole incident in the city, just
You can't contain that.
touching on the fourth movie, I don't know how you public opinion would be like, you know what, I'm gonna go to this Jurassic World, even though 20 years ago these dinosaurs, and I'm like,
You know, you say that, but kind of think about where we were 20 years ago versus now.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, it's a little bit more. I hate saying it, but it is a little bit more plausible if you really think about it, and it kind of sucks.
But okay, yes, but technically, the when we get to Jurassic World, that is not the
Okay.
world we live in now. That is
Oh,
2015. It's
yeah,
2015. The world was slowly starting to get there, but
but it
also,
wasn't there.
Jurassic World was open for a little bit.
Yeah,
So how much time passed between the San Diego incident and them opening
and
Jurassic World to where people are like, you know what, let's go.
that is true. That's true.
But jumping back to this movie, so there's a couple of things that I found very interesting. Like when Ian goes to Hammond's home and he's talking to the nephew and he's talking about how like they had to pay people off and do all these things. And I was like, I kind of wish that if this movie would have came out now, like the first Jurassic Park, and it would have had a success and whatever, it I feel like they would have done like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a TV show. Like you know how like the Batman, they're like, oh,
Yeah,
this is doing well. We're gonna give them a Penguin show. I want to watch a TV show like Succession
of
style
that.
of them covering up the incident at Jurassic Park, like
I
the
could,
payoffs
yeah.
and all the stuff that they had to do. Because I'm like, that just seems so interesting to me.
I it does to me too, especially if it affected the kids. But
Yes.
but that's different. That's for later too.
But then also, it's like I feel like I miss Lex and Tim, and it was nice them to have that little small part at the beginning. But like, I feel like it's missed opportunity not to have brought them back in any future movies.
Yes.
I really like them. I really like what they did with the character Roland Tempo, the game hunter, like the leader. Like,
Yeah.
yes, on paper he is a villain, but like once you get to understand where he's coming from, it's like, okay, it's kind of fucked that you want to kill, that you are a hunter and that you want to kill a T Rex, but it's like everything else is like that shit makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I dig what you're putting down, my guy.
Well, it's like, because if you think about it in his mind, it's like you're the best basketball player. You got to challenge the next basketball
Mm-hmm.
player,
Mm-hmm.
or that thought process. So it's like you get it, and you're like, man, that's impressive if you're gonna say that. But then it's like, oh, what you're doing?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But then also like I was thinking about it and it's like everything is goes fine when he's around. And every time he goes away to do something else, shit goes to hell. Like when he
Yeah.
was like, all right, we're gonna wait on this T-Rex to get here, the camp blows up. And then he went to go and he what the heck? He went to do something and then like that man got killed.
Oh, when the dude went to the bathroom, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
yeah, he went to go check the T-Rex trail.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I really liked his character, and I couldn't fucking stand Vince Vaughn. Like, I get you're the supposed to be the good guy here, but like,
You're kind of a douchey good guy. You're a good
yeah,
guy I don't want to root for.
yes, and it's like I understand we're here to preserve life, but your life's also in danger. So why would you remove the bullets?
Yeah. Like I get that he was like one of the environmental extremists. Like I
Right.
kind of got that watching it. But at the same time, it was just like his character was like so douchey. Even when he did something semi heroic, it kind of felt creepy. And I don't know why. Like, I can't explain it. It's not like he gave off really creepy vibes or anything. I think it's just like I associate other characters he's been, maybe. But like when he saved the little girl and the girlfriend, and
In the cave in the waterfall.
yeah, yeah, I don't know why, but like when Goldblum said thank you, it was just kind of like creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I can't put my finger on it.
Maybe there was like something that they cut from the movie, maybe like
That
something
could
else with
be.
his character. And so maybe
Yeah,
he laid it on a little extra for something that didn't make the final cut.
that's possible.
I do have a question. Would you have helped the hurt baby T-Rex?
Yeah,
You would
I
have?
know I would have. I'm not even gonna lie.
So
Yes.
you don't like living?
No, I'm against it when it involves hurt animals or any animals. We've had this talk. I'm the dog catcher of my neighborhood because my
Okay.
office is right on the front road. I've caught 7 dogs this year in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Like it's a thing. I have deer that randomly come into my yard now too, and I don't have dense forests really close to me. But like I've had random pit bulls come in my yard, and I just put my face down to their face and squish their faces and check their collars.
Yes.
I have no self-preservation when it comes to an animal,
Okay.
especially if they have fur. I won't lie.
Okay, so that
I
that
won't.
that mama T-Rex would have messed you up, huh?
Hardcore, but I would have gotten rid of my jacket.
Yeah, like I forgot that that's how the dinosaur found them. But like when it
Yeah.
was covered in blood, I was like, "Oh, Roland, shouldn't you tell her to take that off? That this don't feel right."
Yeah, like the second that you're like, "Oh, it's baby T-Rex blood," you should be like, "Oh, we need to burn this. I need
Yes,
somebody else's shirt and this needs to go."
100%.
And I've never even hunted.
Yeah, it just feels like mm, you guys don't want to live.
Yeah, like that one I will 1,000% give you because you're with somebody who's a professional tracker
Mm-hmm.
that noticed by tracking that there was fresh blood
Yes.
somewhere. And yet he's not going to be like, and I know they tried to make it because like he got pulled away really quick, but I feel like he still would have been like, somebody needs to tell her to get rid of her stuff.
Yes.
Like he
Yeah.
had enough
Everybody
people
needs to
around him.
jump in the lake and just splash around a little bit.
Yeah, it's just something needs to happen. Some mud, some
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
dog is going insane. I'm sorry.
He heard you talk about like, oh, you just gonna save any animal, huh? What about me? Am I chopped liver?
He and his sister get ornery right before bed normally. They're terrible.
Any final thoughts on the Lost World Jurassic Park?
Um, I stick with it was fantastic up until the end.
Yes. Yes. All right. Next up, we have Jurassic Park 3. Paul Kirby and his wife Amanda want a plane to fly over Isla Sorna with Dr. Grant as their guide. When the plane lands, Dr. Grant quickly realizes there's another reason why they are there.
So I feel like this one missed a mark that I feel would have been obvious,
What's that?
but kind of not, I guess, as the story progresses. But I feel like Billy should have been Tim.
Oh,
Like they just missed a massive opportunity, or even Lexi.
well, I feel like it would have made more sense to be
But
Tim.
yeah, because Tim was the one that was like so into everything, knew everything. Like,
Well, the only pushback I have on that is that Tim doesn't need money and he could have just funded the dig.
and I can see that too. And maybe that's why they didn't put him there.
I mean, they could have said that he was cut off or something.
Yeah, I feel like he could have like violated his NDA or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Wow,
But
that
I don't know.
I never thought of that. That okay.
I feel like that would have been a golden opportunity to like kind of tie that in more because like you don't really get attached to Billy as he's partnered with Dr. Grant, you
Right,
know?
right.
So it's just kind of like, oh, you're a tag along sidekick type vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was okay with the story. It was a reach, but it was like in the transition of stuff, I was kind of okay. But yeah, I don't know. Billy's character really threw me off for the whole movie.
I mean, yeah, he was over here scowling like a villain from the shadows the whole time.
Yeah, like I was not okay with it. And I felt like I don't know why, but I always feel like it was so much better when like the villain is, and I know this is terrible to even say, but like when the villain is like something you can, some big corporation that you're like, oh, you're all corrupt. But when it's just like a kid trying to like fund the dig project, if that
Right.
was legit what he was doing, then it's kind of like, ah, you almost feel bad for him.
So, what are your feelings on him being alive at the end?
Iffy.
Okay.
And I'll go more into that in other movies.
Okay. I feel like I know where we're going with this. I thought the opening of the movie was really cool with them parasailing. Like right off the
Yeah,
island. I thought that was cool. And then they go into like the fog or whatever, and like
and
the boat is just empty.
yeah.
I thought that was
It
really cool.
visually it was very enticing. Like everything was all the props and the usage and how they did things, like I liked it. How yeah, just how they shot certain things, and you really saw how they like moved around and maneuvered more and stuff. Like it was really well done
Okay.
in that aspect.
I found it interesting how Grant and Sadler looked older in this movie than they did in the sixth movie.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit of maybe makeup magic failing to age them.
Fail. I do have a comment that I was saving. I feel like in this first trilogy, the dinosaur CGI and effects got progressively worse. Like in the first one, gold standard, shit holds up
Yeah.
almost 30 years later. And then
Yes.
in the second one, it's a little shaky, and they use night a lot more
Yeah. I
than they
noticed
did.
that.
But in this one, it just looks so bad.
It was so smooth. Like it almost looked cartoony
Right,
smooth.
right. Are we playing a
And
video game right now?
huh?
You know,
No, I just
no, 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 not you. Like
oh,
the effects look like a video game.
yeah, exactly. Um Halo has good ones. I was trying to think of a good comparable one, but like, oh, um regardless, yes, smoother graphics that just they didn't feel textured enough to be a real thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, and this could have just been because I was nitpicking because I was kind of not as into this movie as I was the rest of them, but like it seemed like the marks were off in a couple of the scenes that made it a lot funnier than it should have been.
Okay.
Like the running scene in the herd,
Mm-hmm.
just some of the marks I noticed were like 2 to 3 feet off to where I couldn't help but laugh when I was watching it.
Okay.
And it's no fault of the actors or anything, and that's probably as good as, stuff was at the time. But it was just something that I kind of noticed in a couple areas that made me chuckle.
Okay. Okay.
That's one of those not aging well things.
I don't know. Like we come from the Lost World, where a character who should clearly be the bad guy, Roland, it's like he had some interesting qualities about him. And then we jump back to Jurassic Park 3, where like, we're just surface level shit.
Yeah,
And I'm
nothing's
gonna
really
yeah.
er,
And I'm gonna say this again for the rest of the movies that we do on this review, but like there really wasn't any nuance to these characters. And like I feel like that's a fault of the writing. And
I
yeah.
totally agree with that.
But I will say, like, when I was just noticing like the story really wasn't there. It was a good reason to trick Grant back onto the island. I give them that.
It was a good reason to trick him. That was totally solid. I felt like his and Ellie's relationship aspect
Okay.
of Jurassic Park 3 was totally forced.
What do you mean?
Even though I understand that it needed to be in place for their evacuation later in the movie, since he worked for the Secretary of the State and could
Uh-huh.
get that kind of manpower. But that's the only reason that dynamic was going on. Like, I feel like instead of just abusing her character and their character relationship, it kind of took away a little bit from the story.
I'm not following you.
I'm trying to think how to describe it without going into the next stuff too. But like just having it be her, like her being there was the reason like he had to learn to ask for help. That's why he called her at the end of the movie.
Oh, I see.
They had to have dinner in the
She's not
beginning
really a
because
character. She's a plot point.
right. She's a yes, exactly.
Okay.
She's a placement for no
No,
real reason.
No, I'm with you. Like it felt like they're like, okay, we got Laura Dern for like literally 12 hours. We got to make this shit work.
Yes, exactly. We need to bring this character in for this. We got to entice some fans. We got to get this going. But
Every
no
one of her
real,
scenes will be in the trailer.
yeah. And people are gonna be like, yeah, her, I'm coming. And then nope, she's just right there and right there.
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I was if I felt like if they would have made a fourth Jurassic Park movie around that time, it would have been direct to video. Like you could tell like they
Yeah,
were running out of
they were
steam.
just down.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
I don't know why they didn't just say, "Hey, Laura Dern, you want to be in this movie for real and not this bullshit plot point
Exactly.
stuff?"
Like, that you could probably entice her too. If you were
Right.
able to entice him, there's
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I mean, it's clear the budget really wasn't there for it was there,
right.
but it
And
wasn't. Maybe they couldn't
that could
afford
have
both
been
of
it.
them.
That's possible. I mean, it could be something just that simple.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it felt weird. The whole thing felt forced
Okay.
almost. And so that was one that I was like, oh, this is in fact why I did not watch this again.
Had you seen it more than once?
Yes, I've seen it several times.
Okay.
Um, my kid has literally been obsessed with Jurassic Park since he was 4. So he is super avid into all of this and will correct you on all of it all the time.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah. He's
So
almost like a little Ross from Friends.
I thought you were gonna say a little Tim
Oh no.
from Jurassic.
That would have been better.
So we jump 15 years from Jurassic Park 3 to Jurassic World. 22 years after the original Jurassic Park failed, the new park, also known as Jurassic World, is open for business. After years of studying genetics, the scientists in the park genetically engineer a new breed of dinosaur, the Indominus Rex. When everything goes horribly wrong, will our heroes make it off the island? Yes, that's the problem with this Jurassic World series of movies. So a couple thoughts. I forgot that well actually no, I'll tell a very short story. So I saw this movie in the theater opening weekend and I'm watching the park and I'm eating it up because I've just like they actually got the park open. This is Hammond Stream. This is what Jurassic Park was supposed to be. Just seeing it, it's Disney World. And it's just so fucking cool to just see everything just going, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm just on the whole high of like they got the park working. And after the movie, I'm outside talking to the people I went to the movie with. And I was just like, they got the park open, like the rides and stuff, and they got the hotels, and it's like the merch, and it's like they did it. And they're like, yeah, but this was not a good movie, Chad. And it's like that moment in The Usual Suspects when that character realizes someone else is full of shit and like they're just replaying everything in their head. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wait a minute. This wasn't a good movie. You're right.
Yeah.
And so this is the third time I've seen the movie, and I liked it even less this time than the last time I saw it because it's like this is 2022 Chad watching the movie, and when you know better, you do better. That is what I always say. And this movie is very sexist, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
don't really care for the whole macho shit of like Claire's coming to Chris Pratt's house because she's like, hey man, I am like the highest official in this fucking park, and I'm coming to you about work stuff. And he's talking about having sex in his fucking bungalow and all
Yeah.
this shit. And it's like my guy. And it's just like he's coming off as a know-it-all. And like I understand, like in that aspect, yes, he is right. But it's just like the tone is like not
Very
cool.
arrogant.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, if he were a woman, the internet would have lit that shit up like
Yeah.
the exact same situation.
Oh
So I
yeah.
didn't really care for that. And then it's like the movie wants him to be cooler than the script, if that makes sense.
And then his acting.
That too. Oh, yes. Like when there's scenes where like they're playing off against like nothing, like CGI and stuff.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard is acting her fucking ass off, and Chris Pratt just staring like, dude, like, did you?
Which is weird for him because he has to do that work so often in the movies he's in.
Well, I
But
don't
it's
know
like,
did this come out before Guardians or after?
oh,
Because
I think this did come out before it.
so I don't know, or maybe he just got some bad direction, but it's just like clearly you guys are not on the same page as to what should be happening in this scene.
Yeah. No, yeah, a lot of times.
But I forgot that they and so this is like something I do that I'm at this point in time I'm getting really annoyed with like these legacy sequels where they keep like rehashing things from like the movie that is based off of, like the boys, their parents are going through a divorce, like Lex and Tim, and
Mm.
like all these references to like original Jurassic Park. Like you got Jake Johnson in extremely poor taste wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt on the same
Yeah,
island where all those fucking people died. Like that's so fucked up, dude.
it really is. And like the fact that he's even like kind of arrogant back about, well, I don't, not even that, just the sassiness back of like, okay, I won't, when she's like, don't wear that again.
Right.
It's just his whole mood was like, um, Norb from Jurassic Park, but like
No, Newman.
Newman. It was like Newman in the chaos and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
like I guess they were trying to say that, but then at the end
Oh,
and how he redeemed himself,
I never really thought about that. Okay.
I don't know because like Newman never redeemed himself, and then this kid does at the end when he's like,
Yeah.
okay, and stand up guy, last one to say, cool man. But I don't know. I wasn't a fan of his, but he was putting off.
I'm with you on that. I feel like another missed opportunity. Why was not Lex or Tim running this company?
Yes. So we the Hubs and I had the exact same conversation. Like this entire next three movies would have made such phenomenal more sense if Tim and or Lex were involved somehow.
Right. Like you don't even need to show them. Mention them.
Well,
Just
even
mention
if
them.
like take out Owen and put Tim in,
No, don't do
and
that. Don't do
well,
that.
I'm just saying, like there you could have played with the characters a little bit or something, but or like Claire could have been Lexi
Now
running the fort.
that I would not have been mad at. I would not because
Like she had the hacker skills,
I could totally see that.
all of that stuff. Like
I could see that.
golden opportunity.
And like clearly they wanted to like make homages to like Jurassic Park as Disney, right? And
Right.
like are you I can't even remember this woman's name. It's Walt Disney's great niece, Abigail Disney. She is like a very rich woman. She's out here doing her own thing, but she is extremely vocal about the bad things that her family's corporation is doing. And I agree, like just lightly touch on the next two movies, especially the next one. If they could have made Bryce Dallas Howard Lex and like the things that she's doing and saying about Engine as a whole, you would have your Abigail Disney like connection there.
Yeah. That would make total sense. I get, yeah.
And like also like you could have had Tim like in league with Dr. Wu. Like Tim has like, you know,
Something
basically the last Jedi Tim, whereas he's like disillusioned and he's not the same person that we left him. Like that interesting things.
could have happened that would mold these people that would then make these next movies make a dash of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say, being positive for a moment, I do appreciate how this movie was at least focused. And it's
Yes.
just unlike the next two movies we're gonna see, like this is just like chaos in the park. And this
Yeah.
is all we have to worry about.
It's just this. It's the fact now. It's the next step. The park opened. There are now people in it, and a containment is breached. Like
Yes.
it's what would have happened. It's inevitable. Like it was
Yes.
cool with that. I was all right with that aspect when compared to the other two.
Yes. Let me see if I got any noteworthy notes here. Oh, I love Judy Greer so much. Oh, when they're going through when they first get to the park and just all those clusters of people gave me low key PTSD.
Yeah, no, I
It's just
don't like that.
we don't do that anymore. Okay.
No, I
We
don't. It's weird to see it now because I don't want it to go back to that.
yeah,
I
exactly.
like being able to breathe and like comfortably hold my kid's hand instead of like holding on for dear life.
We lived so differently, just breathing
Just
other people's air.
yeah, just it was all right there. Just they had tuna, you had tuna.
Uh, all right. Any final thoughts before we move on?
uh no, the last thought I've got I want to save for the last movie because it
Okay.
kind of does deals with all three.
Okay. Next up, we've got Jurassic Park, Fallen Kingdom. 3 years after the Jurassic World theme park was shut down, Owen and Claire returned to Isla Nublar to save the dinosaurs when they learned that a once dormant volcano on the island is active and is threatening to extinguish all life there. Along the way, Owen sets out to find Blue, his lead raptor, and discovers a conspiracy that could disrupt the natural order of the entire planet. Life has found a way again.
Nicely put. I feel like this one followed in the Lost World's footsteps a little bit, or it like took from
Oh,
that.
I see. They're on an expedition and shit.
Yeah,
But from the other side, like from the bad guy side, because it's like we're here to take these motherfuckers off instead of like watch them. Okay.
right. Yeah. And it was the whole on-site, off-site type storyline again.
Mm-hmm.
They did it better. I will say that it made more sense for what was going on, but it just that was like a really quick jump to oh, all of a sudden we have all of these exotic animal buyers or weapon deals that are going on right as this volcano is about to erupt.
Right.
Right now, we've got to get them out. We're going to have an auction. Like, or was it the volcano was going to erupt and then they did this? Because I feel like that is not a sufficient amount of time to arrange that auction.
No, they didn't. They weren't clear, but the very opening of the movie when they got the tooth from the Indominus Rex, that happened quite some time before the movie proper started because
Right.
they
Because
had to
that's
have
how
time to like
to
clone the
build.
new one.
Yeah.
So I would think that they were probably planning to do something like that then, as far back as whenever they when they got
Okay.
the tooth.
That would make sense. It was like how it all went down. I was just like, this doesn't really make sense. You're not going to get these exotic animal buyers from all over the world within like a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe for dinosaurs, you would.
But still, you gotta factor in travel time and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I didn't, the timeline of it didn't sit great. How it went, I don't know. They started reaching on too hard, hard.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
I just there's so much to it that it's just like, what? Why? Why is this the avenue you're going? Like, The first three movies set you up on such a trajectory, and now
They
you have.
wait, they did?
Well, there was a storyline or story path that could have been followed.
They was just spitballing in those first three.
Man, no. I feel like there could have been a proper storyline for these last three that they just missed. And then the stuff that they gave us was literally just like, hey, now we have Goldblum. Come see it. And again, he's at the beginning and the end and plays no part in the movie.
So this is the second time I've seen this movie, and the first time was in the theater. And I don't think he looked all that good in this one. He looked fucking amazing in the third one, but it's just like you looking all scruffy and a little puffy, my guy.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
In court, nonetheless,
Right.
trying to convince people to do something.
Right. And also this is during a time period in which we have lost all faith in democracy. No congressional hearing is ending in a timely manner.
Right. That too. So
Right.
it was just like a lot of things didn't add up. I didn't like how it projected. It felt weird and
Projected
forced.
what? Projected what?
Well, no, just how it jumps so much. And like, I get that you have your two or your two main leads, and like they fall in love again because they're put in a bad situation again where they have to save each other again. And it's just kind of like, why couldn't they have just, if you were going to use them again, like just have them stay together? Like,
Mm,
what was why did you even
because
have to add all of that stuff?
because screenwriters don't really know how to write people actively in a relationship.
That's valid. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, really think about it. Like, just looking at movie sequels, like how
It's always a
often,
breakup, get back together type thing.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's hard for them. It's hard to write. Oh yeah, we're happy, or there's some
We went
bumps in the
downstairs and
road,
had coffee this morning,
right?
and that was the start of our day.
Or like you
Yeah.
did something to piss me off, but I didn't break up with you. We had a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead of the argument of who left who at a bar.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
But I will say I never believed the two of them as a character in any of these movies.
No.
As a couple, I mean, not a character.
They had a weird chemistry.
None. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lot, none. Like almost negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in the third one, which I won't talk about
Yeah,
yet.
we will get to that.
But
Yeah. So by the time we got to the last movie, I started to feel off and a little bit numb. And when we got to this one, I was just like, I'm getting real close to being mad here because like the opening sequence was really cool when they're underwater and shit.
yeah.
I thought that was neat. We've never seen that in a Jurassic Park movie. And then when they get on land and like the dude's opening the gate and it's raining, and then it's just like we're making these characters stupid so that things can happen to them. And I don't feel like that's fair to this series.
I agree with
Um
that.
People may have done not smart things, like in the second one when the guy tortured the copy, and then
Right.
later on he got a little turned around, and then you know that wacky shit happened. But like
And
I
that
don't.
logically made sense.
Right, right. But
Yeah.
here it's just like they're yelling at you and waving, "Come here," and you're just standing there.
Like what? Or yeah, like so much of the, or that there wasn't a backup to a tablet
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a power source on that type of a gate
Also, why is the park structured in a way to where there's one mechanism, just
that
open it,
stops that,
just like with the Indominus. Just open the main gate and that's all. There's no
and
like,
it's there.
there's not
There's
like
no backup
other,
or sec. Well,
yeah.
because even the Raptor pin had that. The Raptor pin had that secondary area because that's
Mm-hmm.
what he slides under in that
Right,
scene.
right.
And but yeah, the other animals that are probably a little bit more deadly or more impactful
Mm-hmm.
or at least more terrifying have
Mm-hmm.
no secondary security. And you
So
don't even have weapons that you know can harm it.
right. So we've got that. And then just like the elephant in the room, the retconning, where they're like, "Oh yeah, Hammond had a partner."
Yeah, just the complete segue of somebody
Yeah,
we never heard of.
yeah. And then also them heavily trying to make you think that that little girl was Lex's daughter.
Yeah, I got that too.
I didn't like that at all. Like when she was like, "Has my mom ever been to Jurassic Park?" And he was like, "Once."
Once. Yeah,
Oh, who else? Who do we know that's been there once? Yeah, fuck
because
you.
and honestly, if they would have no, that's later, I think too.
But no, but
But yeah,
even still, like if you really sit and think about it, it wouldn't have made sense for that to be Lex's daughter because that was his
over there.
daughter,
Yeah.
and he's an old man.
But it's just like I don't know. I didn't it was forced. This one I feel like and with how many references they did in this movie to the original, like just little stuff. Like the silhouettes of T-Rexes, like
Mm-hmm.
little notions
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
It felt so much like a money grab. Like we're just
Yes.
throwing this out here and we're bringing Goldblum in for this because we know fans will pay to see this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And like you said the last time, all his parts were in trailers.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep. And they had
that's
him probably
cool.
for one day. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Also, I feel like it is disrespectful to every movie that came before this to be like, oh hey, it doesn't matter what happened at this point in time, a volcano would have destroyed this island. Like, so if Jurassic World was still open, Jurassic World would have been destroyed because that volcano would have went off. Or
Yeah.
like if y'all would have just left this island the fuck alone, like from the
Just
first three
stay.
movies. Like I don't
Oh.
like that.
And I don't like that it was pointed out either. Like it was explicitly said, nature is correcting its source, its mistake. Like let it.
Right.
Like Goldblum stated that very clearly, and everybody's like, you know what? Nah, we're just gonna do what we want to do,
Right.
and you can suck it.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like there would have been. I know they were like a private company versus the government company that they were discussing in the trials, which
Hmm.
again was another weird point to me.
But yeah, it's the U.S. government, and this is that island is not in your jurisdiction. Like I understand
Yeah,
U.S. aid, I get it,
yeah,
but also like
but
I
it
feel like it
was
would be a global issue. It should be like the UN or somebody.
exactly. It just the flow of all of it was kind of off-putting to me.
Yeah, yeah. Um. Oh, I guess also the other elephant in the room. Um. It makes sense that we can do this in this universe, but it's off-putting to me that we're cloning humans.
Yeah, I feel like that should be a big no-no, but I know that's like what things are going towards.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, if you're gonna clone a dinosaur, why wouldn't you clone a human?
That part kind of made sense to me. Like I
Right.
followed that
Okay.
into.
Oh, okay. But you did you have any? I didn't like this movie.
Mm-mm.
I really didn't like this movie, and that the idea of like, oh yeah, we're gonna have dinosaurs be assassins, and all they gotta do is just flash a laser pointer on them like a cat, and
And
we're good
click
to go.
twice.
Yeah,
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 no.
yeah.
Like
Okay.
all of that was just like, but, but at the same time, I can see the stupidity happening.
But that's just such an inefficient way to trigger an assassination.
It is, but that's like what he was talking about is those areas where they don't have drones and stuff, using them for that. But it's a reach, but it's a reach that I feel like governments would be cocky enough to make given the situation.
Okay.
I mean, Russia did try to train dolphins to find landmines in World War II.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's real. That
Right.
happened.
Okay. Fair enough.
So it's something that if it were at hand, I could see somebody being like, yeah, this is a great idea.
Do
Even
it.
though it's really not.
Right. Oh, these movies. And we round out with Jurassic World Dominion. 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar, Biosyn operatives attempt to track down Maisie Lockwood, while Dr. Ellie Sattler investigates a genetically engineered swarm of insects. So, a few thoughts here. What they wanted to do is in the title of these movies, Jurassic World. They wanted to make a world in which the
It was
dinosaurs
like,
roamed it again. I get you. And the first movie, this is introducing us to the idea of it, and the second movie was the execution of it. And so one would think that with the way Fallen Kingdom ends, we will be in a world of dinosaurs, seeing how one lives life. How do you go to the grocery store when a fucking raptor can just bust through the window, you know?
yep,
Do you still go camping? Like, what are sporting events like? Can you just have a normal day and there's dinosaurs running around, right?
right.
Um, and we kind of get that for like the first maybe 40 minutes of the movie or so.
Like a taste. Yeah.
And then we basically go to another Jurassic Park, but in the mountains.
Yeah. I had a
And
lot. Yeah.
and I feel like we actually could have played with something like that. Like, there's
The
more than
actual natural progression.
no, 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 no.
Oh,
Like there's more than one Disney World, right? There's
right.
Disneyland, there's Disney World, there's Disneyland
I
Paris.
gotcha.
And so like, yes, Disney World, oh sorry, Jurassic World exists, but there are other sites around the world. And so like they're like Jurassic World was a failure, but the company is still seeing record profits, at these other sites. And this could have been a site,
Yeah.
like a mountain site that
Just a different
specializes.
location. Yes.
Yeah, like we brought back woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and all that shit because this is a
Yes.
colder climate.
I totally agree with that because it bothered the crap out of me the entire movie. I cussed constantly about the fact that they were in snow so much that I had to Google it after the movie was done and see if that was like a real thing that all these different types of
Hmm.
dinosaurs could live, because it wasn't just that it was dinosaurs living in snow, it was these types of
Right,
dinosaurs.
right, right.
And it was just like, it bothered me the whole time. Never stopped.
So I don't know, like I just feel like we didn't really think this as through as we could. Like, why would you build us up for a Jurassic World just to take us to another park situation? And then like we can't even focus on the dinosaurs because now we gotta look at fucking locusts.
Right. And on top of that, it's just locusts that will specifically only eat the competitor's crop.
Right.
Just
Like,
to, like, the degree and level at which they jump stuff
right.
was just like, I don't think it needs to be this extreme.
No, it doesn't. And then also it's like we are at a point with so many characters in this movie specifically because you bring back legacy characters and then
Yeah.
you bring back Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt and the little girl. And
Yeah.
also, I've been saving this. Why is it that in every one of these Jurassic World movies, Chris Pratt gets a black sidekick? He had Omar Sy in the first one. He
Oh
had Justice Smith
shit.
in the second one, and he had that black lady in this one. And so, like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here,
Equality.
guys? Right. And so, like, you have all these characters, and none of them die. Like, nobody fucking dies. Like, that is the point of these movies. These are horror movies.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be. Now, I will be dead honest. I laughed through this whole movie. There
Okay.
are so many points that I cannot even name them because I was in tears at some of these situations. Some of these thought processes, some of these little thought trains just exploding because it was so much extremeness that was not needed, and so much down your throat nostalgia that didn't really make sense to the story at all, because
Mhm.
never in the first two World movies are either Ellie or Alan mentioned.
Right.
So it's like, oh, just all of a sudden, this one particular situation just for Ellie is going to pop up, and it's going to pull all these strings together. And it was so unnatural and
Yes.
so in your face. Like, there were so many parts of it where they're like, look, we're just like the first movie. We're amazing.
Mhm.
And then I feel like I can finally say this now, that's bothered me for all of the movies. How does Wu just constantly get by with this? And then we have
Right.
character arc in this movie where all of a sudden
You feel
he's
remorse.
fine and he's good and he's doing stuff to help the world.
Like you were a huge bad guy in Jurassic World, and also Jurassic and Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah,
Now,
like,
now you got
you're
remorse.
behind literally everything. It's all literally your fault.
Right. Right.
You,
Right.
how, how are you still just willy nilly running around and creating dinosaurs
Right.
and locusts?
Right. Locust. And then like, okay, and so then they doubled down on this whole Maisie shit where she was in Jurassic Park in the 80s and shit.
Yeah,
And
like,
I cloned and carried my own baby.
I hated the entire origin switch up with her. Like, that was just what, like, you ruin everything. Stop touching stuff.
It has your clone stink on it.
Like, the story was fine. That made sense. You could have just gone from there. You didn't need to make her character so much more. But then for his locust to be taken care of, you had to know that all of her cells had been altered, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, there are other more organic ways you could have brought that in
Right.
than completely rewriting a character's backstory.
Right. I mean, what's gonna happen is we're gonna get a Jurassic Planet, whatever.
No, man, it needs to be finished.
We're gonna get Jurassic 7, and it's going to be a movie set in the 80s. And we're gonna
Mm-mm.
get the early 80s. Well, no, it's gotta be before that. So because we gotta have young, sexy Hammond and
God, no.
young, sexy Lockwood, because he's a character now, you know.
Bates, lay down.
So I don't know.
Pet
Like
dog issues.
I I feel like, or at the very least, a Jurassic 7 will be bridging the gap between JP3 and Jurassic World.
I just don't think that they can really do it, because how they did three, how they brought them together, and then how they finally gave the fans Ellie and Alan together.
They were
Like,
together in the first one.
they were, and they should have stayed together. But like you said, they can't write that. So
Right.
they had to make all 6 movies just for them to get back together.
And also, if we're being fair, Liz, the fans want Lex and Tim. We don't give a shit about this.
Right. Like, they would be retired by now. Like, just, they'd be out living their life on a patio with some iced tea.
Well, it'd be a yacht. They're rich, but yes.
She's rich, he's not.
No, oh no, I'm sorry. I thought we were still talking about Lex and Tim. Sorry.
Oh, no. They're rich and they're fine because they don't care about any of it anymore. They're just like, I don't want to
They're
talk to you about dinosaurs.
oh, Jurassic 7. That's in space. They're in space. They're building dinosaurs in space.
That would be it, on Mars as farming equipment.
Right. Also,
Or some help the ecosystem.
did you notice how like they're making like dinosaurs now that are accurate to what we believe dinosaurs actually were, like with the fur and shit?
Yes.
And it's like, y'all sum this up in Jurassic World. I don't want to see that shit.
Yes, you've answered this question. It's fine. They can look like they looked when we were 7, and that's cool.
Right. Like like the honest, I feel like that's probably one of my favorite parts, especially during this rewatch, when Woo's like, this is not real. None of this shit is real. This is not what this is supposed to be. All right. We made this
Yeah.
to look a specific fucking way because that's what fucking public opinion is. I don't want to
Mhm.
see fucking dinosaurs with fucking fur. And now that we're on the last one, it honestly feels like they've been making shit up. Now I don't know all dinosaurs. I don't look into it, but like what
No.
the fuck's a copy and the Indio, whatever the fuck, like all these, not like the shit that they grossly made, but like the
Right.
other. It's like, are y'all making this up? Is this like Pokemon, where it's
I
like this
feel
the new
like it's
generation?
I feel like it's you got to be the smartest guy in the room. So like you throw out all these Latin names that you just happen to know because you know way too much about this subject. Like I honestly I feel like that's it with it because it's like you add in stuff that nobody cares about,
Mm-hmm.
or the stuff that you skip over is stuff that people do care about,
Mm-hmm.
and they just weighed out completely wrong in 3. Like 3 is a comedy.
It's a fucking mess. Yes.
There's no other way to put it because if you look at that like they did a legit movie, you'll cry the whole time.
Mm.
It's so ridiculous.
Yes. Also, Chris Pratt got a fucking story mission from a goddamn raptor.
Right? No. And then you got Altered Carbon's sister in there with a clicker for no reason,
Oh,
which she played the character well. Good on
yeah.
her for that.
I like that actress. I do.
I love her. I think she's very elegant. But like
Oh, and then it became a
there was
Jason
just
Bourne movie too.
oh
No, like that. Those
yeah,
scenes when
that
they were
whole
like
like
jumping off of like balconies
yeah.
and shit, and steady cam, and yeah.
Well, and magically he's also a cowboy. Like just all of it was just kind of like, did you learn some new skill sets after Navy and Jurassic Park World wrangling? Did you just all of a sudden develop all of these skills
You know,
that will
that's we really needed Matt on this episode because like so in the Navy y'all got like a fucking Raptor training program. Those skills transferred over
well like he said he was an animal behavioralist was his actual title. So I
in
think
the
he was a
Navy.
dog handler.
In the Navy though.
Well, I think the Navy also has dog handlers for their MPs.
Okay, okay,
I could be
okay.
totally wrong,
I'm not
but
arguing with you. I'm not arguing with you.
that was where my brain went when he made that comment.
Okay.
So that's where I was like, okay, I get the training. That's you have to be that focused with your animal
Mm-hmm.
during training. So I was like, I get that progression. And then just like all of a sudden, willy nilly, you can like ride a horse, you're building a house, you're doing this, you're doing that. You can like do all these stunts on a motorcycle and you're like
Yeah, he's Action Man.
flipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was just too much.
Also, like, so he trained Blue from birth, right?
Right.
And so the whole put my hand out, and you know that I'm the alpha right now. Okay, that makes sense. That is a trained animal. These
Yeah.
other raptors, they're literal wild animals, and little Maisie's like doing a little handout, like, oh yeah, you know what this means. No, the fuck he don't. He should have bit your goddamn hand off.
Man, so I kind of was okay with that one because she had food. So I could see him being curious because she
Okay.
had food.
She is food.
He might not know that yet though because he's too young to hunt. Blue was still bringing him carcasses. I know it's a reach. I know it's a reach.
Okay.
But that was of the whole movie, that was an aspect I was okay with.
Okay. No, wait, are we talking about I'm talking about at the end.
Oh, at the end. Oh, yeah. That was weird. I thought you were talking about in the
No,
beginning when she had the toast.
no.
Okay. Yeah, no, because I don't feel like she imprinted. And that was
Right.
the big thing was he imprinted with Blue and then
Right.
trained Blue.
Right.
Whereas Beta was just born, found her, she gave her a piece of toast with a little bit of jelly, and all of a sudden she's hooked.
Yeah, just a little jelly, you know.
Now she knows all the things. But I guess that kind of could be answered from Wu in the second Jurassic World, because he says how important Blue is as a mother figure. So maybe the baby saw Blue interacting with Pratt.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's a super stretch, but it just popped in my head.
Look,
It was not well done.
no, no, like honestly, even though I love the second movie, each movie got progressive, not progressively, but each movie was worse than the last. Like,
And like,
yeah,
I would say drastically. Like, it got more and more ridiculous. And it was more and more, we're going to do this just so we can get people to buy tickets. And it
right.
became obvious. Like you said in the first one, they cared. And almost every movie after that, they've cared less and less and less and less and less.
Yes.
To where finally, here we are at the very end, and you do all these tie-ins back to the first movie, so it's wrapped up with a nice neat little bow, because you know every 30 something year old is going to be like, I have to see it, it's the OG3.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get what you want, and then we get crap. This
This was a lot.
was a heartbreak.
This was hard. This is really hard. Like I was just getting like more and more frustrated the further I got into these, because it's like I'm not having a good time. I'm not
No,
having a good time.
I was thinking that as I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning last night watching one of them, and I was just like, this would be different if I was like enthralled.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it was like Jurassic Park from the very get go all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'd be like, this is awesome.
Yes.
But man, this just became harder and harder to do the
Mm-hmm.
more we watched them out of order
Why?
because we hadn't seen the newest one. We didn't see it. So
Okay.
we wanted to watch that one first
Oh, I see.
because I had seen all the rest of them before already.
Okay.
So I watched the very last one, and then I started at the first and went all the way back through. And it kind of broke my heart more to do it that way because I didn't have the buildup of Jurassic Park first. I had
You didn't have a
this
good base.
I had this
Your foundation was
horrible,
shit.
oh, it was terrible. It was so fractured. I was just like, this is what you give us. This is it. This is what you came up with. And then to play that one and go right into Jurassic Park, it's like, this is what it's supposed to be. Like, what did
Mm-hmm.
you do? Yeah, that was real. That was real.
No, I get you. I get you. Like I don't know, like the combination of these movies not being good and I have to do homework. This is work. Just
Yeah,
didn't make this a good experience. Like
it didn't. But I have to say this to get back to our point at the beginning of why we even did this episode. I think I changed my argument
yeah,
after having watched all of them.
yes. And I feel like Matt would have done the same thing too. We had a similar conversation on, I can't remember what episode it was. And he said that the original Power Rangers that we grew up with, like the movie, was better than
Yeah.
the reboot. And so
Yes.
we had an episode where we watched both.
Oh
And he was
no.
like, "Oh, okay. If we didn't do this episode, I would have just continued in life and saying that that first one was good."
See, now I just like both in that retrospect.
Of those two, like I appreciated what they were trying to give it, like lore and a
Yeah.
story, versus all right, we just gonna blow some shit
Pow,
up, and
pow, pow.
this don't need to make sense, y'all. Just
Yeah.
yeah,
But with this movie, yeah.
yeah,
And it's sad because it seems like they're doing that with a lot of things. Now, some things, how they're expanding on them feels more natural,
Such
but
as?
some things, well, Marvel, how it's going from just
Well,
like,
I don't do that.
well,
Like
no, that's the best example I can think of right
that's
off.
the gold standard.
Or, well, I guess Star Wars would be considered that too.
That's kind of rocky though, because like they came back on the backs of everything that happened. Like they came back on nostalgia. They came in riding a horse of
Yeah,
nostalgia.
they did. And I think that was really established with The Mandalorian. But I think how they're doing it is better than how Jurassic Park did it in the aspect of, so with Jurassic Park, the reason that we like it so much is because it was so immersive. They
Mm-hmm.
had those puppets, they had those actual sets. It wasn't all blue screen. You know, you could tell when blue screen was used, but for the most part, it was close ups where it was a set. And I think that adds so much dimension to a character's ability to act the scene. And that's like what Star Wars has learned to start doing. So, like, you get the last couple seasons we've gotten, they're on live sets.
Right.
It's people in costumes, it's puppets, it's more animated animatronics versus everything being added in after the fact in green screen, blue screen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that adds so much that we just lost. Kind of like with Jurassic Park, we had this ability to do all this CG, so we started doing all this CG.
Yep.
And now you're learning, well, maybe having a more solid background for some stories helps enhance them. So they're
Right.
going back to that.
But also, especially with this last one, like this was a COVID movie. Like this was a bubble movie, right? They were in the
Yeah.
COVID bubble. Like I don't get how you don't like smooth that script out if you are like living with these people.
Yeah.
Like I don't get
A
that.
little bit, to where it's not so forced when you make jokes or when you say comments or when you have to say something so something else makes sense. And it just feels like it's building on nothing.
Right.
Yeah. There's like no actual chemistry going on set.
Right.
Yeah.
So two trivia-ish questions. So without question, the original Jurassic Park has the highest IMDb score of 92%. Without question. Like of the six movies,
Yeah.
that I'm stating a fact.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me what the second highest one is. Not numbers, just what movie has the second highest IMDb rating.
I'm gonna say Jurassic World.
What makes you say that?
Um, a lot of people did not have friends to point out that it was a crappy movie and literally loved it on nostalgia
I mean,
of a comeback.
just because a movie like destroyed the box office several weeks in a row does not mean critically it did well.
I agree with that, but I think because of the jump in advancement, that's what they would go with,
You're
of
right.
how things looked,
You're right.
how
You're
I
right.
I is it?
You're right. Yeah. But I also forgot to mention this. A positive thing that I can say about the new trilogy is that the CGI was consistent. Like
Oh
it was
yeah.
good. Like
Well, you could see
unlike the
the
other
three
ones where it was
claws.
just
Well, like a big thing, and I think it was awesome, was you were able to tell it was the same Tyrannosaurus Rex
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because of her claw marks. And so like they did really well in what they did. It was really just the story.
right. All right. Last question. Which of the six movies is the second highest grossing?
I'm gonna go with World again. Just the first Jurassic World.
So I'm gonna go backwards.
Okay.
The least highest, the one that made the least amount of money is Jurassic Park 3, which makes sense because there was such a
Totally.
gap between movies. Then number 5 would be so that made $368 million.
Okay.
Next at 618 million is the Lost World Jurassic Park. Then The next one at 990 million is Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad movie. It should have been down there with Jurassic Park 3, but okay.
Yeah,
This is
I agree
this
with that.
is this is not a perfect world. Um, the third highest grossing Jurassic Park movie is Jurassic Park.
Really?
Really?
Dang.
So then the second highest grossing Jurassic movie is Fallen Kingdom at one. So Jurassic Park is 1.046 billion. Fallen Kingdom is 1.3 billion. And Jurassic World rounds it out up top with $1.672 billion.
Man, that's that nostalgia pocket.
It is like, Star Wars killed it too. So,
Yeah, no, that's real. We'll eat that shit up.
we
We want
will.
to be happy like we were when we were kids,
We will. It's not really the same, but
but we try to make it the same
we
and then push it on our kids.
we just yeah. We need to be better. I'm gonna say that.
Oh,
We
yeah.
we need to be more discerning in the content that we consume.
Well, and that's like I said, we didn't even go see this one. I didn't see that until yesterday.
I thought that you said you were gonna see it because
We
like
were.
that kind of sparked the conversation, if I remember right. Because I was saying that I was gonna be seeing it, but I wasn't looking forward to it.
We were going to, and then I got out of it because my parents decided to take my kid to see it as like a summer day thing.
Okay,
And my other son doesn't like dinosaur movies so much.
makes sense.
So it was kind of like, okay, well, then we'll just watch this when it comes out. And then we were kind of like, we started hearing the reviews, and it was like, well, we can just wait. And then we could wait. And then we had our episode, and then I could wait. And then I waited. And then it was yesterday. And I started watching. I was like, I'm gonna cram for this like a test. I
Well,
want to be able to.
you watch 5 movies in one day.
I watched every single movie from yesterday to today with a bridal shower in between.
Oh, yes.
I crammed for this like a test, man. I wanted to remember everything for the podcast.
Man, you should just wrote jotted some notes down and kept it moving because fuck these movies, all right?
Yep, and I did it within 48 hours.
I love Jurassic Park, but it's gonna be a good time before I revisit that motherfucker.
I will say that my love of Jurassic Park is a lot more solidified than it was prior to watching all of them.
Okay.
But it's to Jurassic Park.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I feel like everything that came after it, you can just watch it slowly burn. But Jurassic Park, man, that held up.
But yeah, thank you, Liz, for coming on and subjecting yourself to this foolery. We will
It was a lot of fun.
Definitely will have you back soon, but for one movie.
Okay, that's fair.
But thank you for listening. Please rate, like, and review our podcast on your platform of choice. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusedtotalkpod@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page, We Used to Talk About This at Work, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Used to Talk Pod. Next week, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be on vacation, and I'm thinking positive. All will be well with Matt. I sent him a message, but he hasn't responded. I'm not gonna think anything of that at this time. But it's gonna be the Matt show next week, and I'm not sure what he's gonna put together. But I hope you all enjoyed this. And yeah, we mostly kept it to Jurassic Park and World. But yeah, Liz is someone that we used to work with, as we mentioned last time, and it was always fun having like nerdy conversations with her. And we had a hell of a conversation today.
Yes, we did.
But thank you for listening. And now you know what we used to talk about at work.